Hey, what's up? John Sonmez here, and welcome back to the series on how to lose fat. This is one of the most requested things I've got on this YouTube channel, and so I've decided to put together this series. Before we get started here, in this video we are going to be talking about the mental game of fat loss, which is probably the most important thing that you're going to face in losing fat. Like I said in a lot of the other videos in the series, you pretty much know what to do. I mean, most diets work, most plans work if you stick to them. Sticking to them is the hard part. So before we get into that though, I do want to remind you that this is a series. You can check out the playlist of all of the videos in the series, starting with the first video on the basics of losing fat, or losing fat 101. And there'll be a link in the description below as well. Make sure you click the subscribe button. Make sure you click the bell so you get the notifications, so you get all the videos. There's going to be more videos coming out in this series, and I'm going to be answering some of your questions and whatnot. So, all right. So let's talk about this. So far we've talked about the different ways to lose fat. Just to recap here, that the most important thing is diet, right? Is being in a calorie deficit. I've talked about the idea that all these diet plans will basically work. There's no magic here. Intermittent fasting is not magic. Keto is not magic. None of these things are magic. They're basically working on the principle of having a calorie deficit. Okay, now there's some different pros and cons to different types of diets and different things that you eat, right? It does matter what you eat and when you eat them, but for the most part, what's going to matter more than anything else is the amount. And the fastest way to lose fat is to fast, to not eat anything. But here's the thing. Here's the thing that's going to trip most people up. It's going to be the mental game of it, right? Because you can know what to do and you can have a perfect plan. And for most people that complain about losing fat and that they can't lose fat or diets don't work for them, it's not that the diet doesn't work for them, right? Because the principles are so simple, right? If you eat less calories than you burn, you will lose fat. And then when people say, well, I counted my calories and it's just not working, well, my answer is then eat less, right? Or move more, right? You can, if you're not losing fat, if you keep on reducing the calories, you eventually will, right? Your body is not a perpetual motion machine. It doesn't work without energy. You have to provide energy, and you can't violate those laws of thermodynamics, right? So my point is that diets work. What's happening in most of those cases where people claim that diets don't work, or where you failed with your diet before, has not been that the diet itself didn't work. Okay, it's that you didn't follow it, that you didn't have the mental discipline. And this is the tough part, right? This is the really, really tough part, is because when you first start a program and you first start a diet, and you're first making lifestyle changes in order to lose fat, what ends up happening is that you're enthusiastic, you're excited about it, you're motivated, you're like, oh fuck, I'm going to do this, right? And then what happens is that over time you start to lose that motivation, right? You have different things that are going to happen. Your body is basically fighting against you, right? You're going to have hormones, ghrelin and leptin, that regulate your hunger, and the ghrelin's going to increase. It's going to make you much more hungry, and you're going to start to become really, really hungry, and you're not going to be thinking rationally. So the biggest thing that you have to remember here is that the whole thing is a mental game, right? Your fat loss, the results that you're going to get in any kind of physical transformation, from lifting weights to gain muscle to losing fat, but especially with losing fat, is it's going to be all about the mental fortitude. It's this mental game, and you have to stick with it, right? I always like to talk about this idea of trusting the process, right? And this is so critical, because the other thing that's going to happen, that you're going to find when you embark on this journey of losing fat, is that you're not going to see progress as fast as you'd like, right? You're going to look in the mirror, you're going to step on the scale. Sometimes you're going to step on the scale and you're going to see the weight go up, even though you're doing everything right. And that's just because you're going to have different fluctuations in your body weight just from water retention, right? So there's going to be a lot of variables there that are going to make it seem like you're not making progress. But if you stick to the plan and you're following the plan, you have to trust in that process, and you have to trust that that's going to work. And that's one of the main things that you have to keep in your mind this whole time, is that, and my best advice for you in trying to lose fat is that you basically come up with a plan, and then you stick with the plan, and you don't worry about the progress or the results right away, right? You just figure, if I follow this plan, if I stick with this plan, this will work. Now, eventually you're going to take checkpoints, and you're going to look, and you're going to see what the progress is, and you're going to make adjustments, but you've got to have in your mind the commitment that you're going to stick with the plan and follow it no matter what, rather than I'm going to follow this if it works, or if I feel like this is working, or I feel like this is working for me, right? You got to commit. So many people don't succeed because they don't commit. One of the best things that a lot of people will do is like a 3-month transformation challenge, and you'll get phenomenal results from that. In fact, that might be something that you try to do. And the reason why is because when you do something like that, you've committed, right? And so one of the biggest hacks I can give you for losing fat is that you commit right away, and you commit to a plan, okay? And I talked about, again, I think in the last video, or maybe one of the earlier videos, I was talking about this idea about like setting up a diet plan. And I talked about how what's important is that you have an actual plan, that you actually plan out exactly what you're going to do, and you set up these rules for you, for yourself, right? So that's what we're going to talk a little bit more about in this video too. So I want to, try to help you to get through the mental game of fat loss, which is the hardest part, okay? So the biggest thing that you can do is you have to realize that your mind is going to work against you. And a lot of times, like, you're not in the kind of state or the kind of mindset or the mind frame that you are when you're at your optimal, right? Okay, so what I mean by this is I always say that you have certain very small moments of clarity or lucidity in life, right? And you have to capitalize on those moments. So you have those moments where you're like, okay, I'm going to start a new plan. I'm going to start a New Year's resolution. I'm going to do this. I'm going to get in shape. I'm going to start going to the gym. I'm going to start eating healthy. And you've got those really good thoughts in your head. But the problem is that doesn't stick with you, okay? Like the next morning when you wake up and there's some donuts in the office, like that's what you want to eat the donuts. Like you're not thinking that way anymore. So what you've got to do is when you have those moments, okay? So maybe right now as you're watching these videos, right, because you're serious about this shit now, maybe you've got that moment, you've got to solidify that by making it into some kind of a contract or something that is going to propel you forward when you don't feel that way, right? So one of the biggest just ways to be successful in life, one of the things that holds most people back from being successful in life is that when they have these high ideas, right, when they're high-minded, that they don't follow through because they don't have some kind of system or something to keep them in place. What happens is that when they don't feel like doing something, they don't do it. And when they have these ideas that are going to improve their life, it's a very short period of time, right? So what you have to do to combat that is you've got to visualize right now, right? What do you want to be? What is your goal? What do you want to accomplish here? How much fat do you want to lose, right? What is the goal that you're trying to accomplish? And now you have to solidify that into rules, right? So now's a good time while you're thinking about this, while you're motivated, to make some rules for yourself, okay? If you're going to make a diet plan, make the diet plan, okay? Post it on your wall, post it on your board, send yourself an email, right? So that you know that this is a plan and you're committing 100% to it. If you're going to have a fitness plan, if you're going to do some running, if you're going to do some lifting, whatever it is that you're going to do as part of this plan to lose fat, commit to it. Make rules for yourself, okay? Like I said, for myself, I was doing 1 meal a day, okay? And that was my rule. Like today, I'm not eating. Like I'm fasting on Tuesdays and Thursdays right now, and that's my rule, and I don't have to question it, right? I know what the rule is. When I'm eating 1 meal a day, when I'm not eating until 5 o'clock, I know exactly what it is. And when it's even better when I have the plan of I know exactly what food I'm eating and how much I'm eating, that's even better because that's a solid rule. And what it does is it takes the mental burden off of you, right? Because the thing is, like when you're in your best state, right, and you're really psyched up about losing fat or achieving some goal, what ends up happening is you make good decisions. But when you're in a shitty state, when you're sleep deprived, when you're hungry, when you're tired, when you're exhausted, when you're just in a bad mood, you make shitty decisions. And so the more decisions that you make, the more opportunity for you to make a bad decision, okay? And I'll tell you something else that's going to happen to you is that your body's going to fight against this, right? Especially as you start to lose fat and you start to get into lower body fat percentages, you're going to find, like for guys, you're going to find your testosterone is going to start to drop, okay? Which is going to hurt your motivation, right? You're going to find that you're a little bit more depressed. You're going to find that you have less hope, that you're looking forward to less things in life because all of this is like your body trying to say, eat some fucking food, okay? It's trying to keep you alive. And so you have to realize and calculate ahead of time that you're going to be depressed, This is not going to feel good. You're going to be hungry, right? You're going to be struggling with these things, and it's going to be a tough thing to do, right? And this is so important, is that from the outset you have to have this mindset. You have to realize this is coming, because it's so much easier to deal with and to handle obstacles that you've already pre-planned. If you go down a road and you know it's going to be a fucking bumpy road, you're much more likely to keep going down that road and to not let it throw you off as much, because you've planned this out. You already know that you're expecting to be hungry. You know that you're expecting to be depressed. You know that you're expecting to lose your motivation, okay? And you know that you're going to make bad judgment calls. So you're planning this ahead of time, okay? Whereas if you expect the road to be perfectly smooth and you get on that road and it's bumpy, your chance of compliance, the chance of you failing, is going to increase so much more drastically, because you didn't expect that. So you need to expect this. You need to expect it to be hard. You need to expect it to be miserable, and just say, look, here's the price I'm going to pay. I want to lose fat. I want to get in shape. So I'm willing to be miserable for some period of time in order to do that. And honestly, like after you lose the fat, if you make the lifestyle change to create a sustainable lifestyle, that's a healthy lifestyle where you're not going to gain the fat back, where you're going to be healthy, it will be comfortable. It will be fun. You will enjoy it. Like, you'll start to adapt to that. And so it's not like you're going to live your whole life in this miserable state. Okay. But you got to be prepared mentally. So, to wrap it up here, basically this. The biggest thing that's going to throw you off here is not going to be the diet, okay? It's not going to be the program not working. It's going to be you not following it. So you have to combat that by developing the mental discipline in order to follow it. The best way to do that is to eliminate judgment calls, to have a plan, to commit to the plan 100% and stick to the plan no matter what. Even small deviations, don't allow that to happen. Instead, stick to the plan 100% so that you don't have to make decisions. Because as soon as you allow yourself to make decisions, you're going to make bad decisions, and you're going to increase the chance of those bad decisions, and that's going to cause you a problem. Okay, I'll tell you one other thing here as well, which is two things. One, to recap this, obviously plan that things are going to be difficult, okay? But two, when you mess up, and you will fuck up, get right back on the horse immediately, right? This can be as extreme as you grab a hamburger that you're not supposed to eat, and you take a bite of it, and you realize it, and you spit it out. Or you take one bite and you throw away the rest of the hamburger. Like, as soon as you realize you're going down the wrong path, turn around. There's like an old Turkish proverb that says, as soon as you're going down the wrong path, turn around, right? That's what the mindset that you have to have here, is that not it's all or nothing, right? You're going to try and comply 100%. You're going to set rules for yourself, and you're going to commit to those rules. But when you fuck up, and you will, you're immediately going to fix it, not by paying penance. Don't try and make up for it, by immediately going back and getting back on the horse and going again. That's the thing that's gonna more than anything else determine your success or not, right? It's that mean time between failures, right? When you fail, okay, and how fast it takes you to get back up on the horse, that's the big thing. And success, because it's the damage that you do while you're off of the horse, that's where you get fucked up. And if it's a small time, if you make small mistakes, but you correct them quickly, you're not going to have a problem, right? You don't have to be perfect, but you've got to be really quick at getting back on the horse. That's the most critical skill. All right, that's all I have for you today. If you haven't subscribed already, click that subscribe button below. In the next video in the series, let me see what we're going to be talking about here. We're going to be talking about the supplements that help with fat loss. So make sure you click the subscribe button, make sure you click the bell, and I'll talk to you next time. Take care.